Hi, besties. You've found your community bestie to share thoughts and opinions, recap the shows we love,
Having too much fun.
Bravo should be fun, and have piping hot gossip sessions about the celebrities and Bravo lebs we love, hate, and love to hate. He went on a podcast claiming he had a threesome with two women from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Immediately, I was like, I wonder if it's Brandy and Carlton.
I'm Caitlin Marshall, your pop culture and Bravo bestie. Allegedly allegations. And if you enjoy fun conversation between friends, listening to your bestie rant about shows we can't get enough of, plus enjoy a little bit of, well, ridiculousness.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. There's a spider that is coming down. Hold on.
It's like the Blair Witch Project.
Oh my God. Has anybody seen my ring?
Oh my God.
I don't want to ruin the party or anything.
Have you seen my ring? Oh my God. Can you look on the floor for my ring? God, someone's gonna kill me.
Don't mess with me because I will come.
What? Oh.
Feel free to leave that in for whatever entertainment purposes.
You're in the right place. So thanks for joining me on Besties by Bravo. Hi, besties. Thank you for joining me today. It is Thursday, March 6th. And guess what? Beverly Hills. I'm doing it. We're doing the Beverly Hills. If you are listening on audio, this will be in two parts because I am covering both episode 13 and the latest episode, episode 14. So we got our little Caspia. I don't know why that became a Southern Luann de Lesseps, but it felt right. And then the Sutton's Fashion Show episode. So keep an eye out. If you are listening to part one, part two will be uploaded immediately. If you're watching on YouTube, please just give this video a cute little punch on that like button. Subscribe, do all the things. It's so appreciated. All right, my friends, let's get on into it, shall we? Okay. Starting with the Caspia episode that follows Sutton calling Dorit a bee in her own home. Yeah, we'll get to that. But Jennifer Tilly, girl, she is an interesting person, let me just say. And I can see how she and Sutton just they work together. They're both characters. They're very eccentric. Anyway, okay. So this is going to be heavy in the Jennifer Tilly this episode, and I love it. She and Sutton go to lunch at Caviar Caspia there in Beverly Hills, and Sutton's telling Jennifer she thinks she's going to go for a billionaire now. She doesn't want to go for love. It's for a billionaire. Let's go for the money. But it's interesting to me because the way her conversation, we'll call it that, with Dorit at lunch, how she boasts about her wallet is kind of fascinating. Y'all, I'm a sluttin' for Sutton, but there are some things I gotta call our girl out on. I still like her, but Miss Ma'am. Okay. So we're just gonna head on over to when Kyle's life coach / therapist comes over for a session. And she's telling him how this is her first time away from Portia for this long because Mauricio took Portia to London where Portia's bestie's going to meet her and they're just going to gallivant in Europe. And then Mauricio's going to go gallivant by himself doing his man thing. And Mauricio is really enjoying life, going on guys trips while Kyle is working and working out and hanging out with Morgan Wade. She didn't say that, but she forgot to, I think. She says that she's getting impatient and anxious with everyone asking her if she and Mauricio are going to file for divorce or not. And it's really stressing her out not knowing what they are doing and where they are going with this. My, conclusion to this is really that it sounds like it's more up to Mauricio and like the ball is in his court. So, She says she's afraid that if she moves on to someone new, that then he'll want to come back and it will be all messed up because she moved on. Yeah, well, Just wait, babes. You don't even have to worry about that. In confessional, she says that she's never been wanting to be a single mom like her own mother was, and that she took so much pride in having a long marriage, considering the role model she had growing up. Big Kathy is who the mother of the K girls there, you know, Kathy, Kyle, and Kim. Her name was Kathy. They would call her Big Kathy and call Kathy Hilton Little Kathy. I think this further proves that Big Kathy is still looming over Kyle in a way since she has long passed, and her influence of being very adamant that these girls get married to a wealthy man and also be successful in their own right in the entertainment industry, but really made it all about a man. So I think, Kyle is still clearly hung up on that, I'll say. She tells the life coach that Mauricio has said for years that his biggest fear was that he couldn't be on his own, as opposed to, I couldn't be without Kyle. And that he's been saying now, oh, well, I really can do it all on my own. So basically, Mauricio, you've just been afraid that you couldn't do it if you didn't have Kyle taking care of you. Got it. The therapist says that one of Kyle and Mauricio's biggest issues has been that they have always been afraid to really get to the emotions that are real deep and underneath those intense feelings. Makes perfect sense, because if they did do that, they would actually be having that tough conversation by now of what they are going to do. They would have set an end date to this, maybe what we'll call trial separation. And they would have had the conversation about whether or not they are going to date other people during the separation. Interestingly, Kyle does say that Mauricio is an extremely emotional person, and it's odd to her because he's not showing those emotions. And I find that interesting because I guess it's hard for me to imagine that Mauricio is a deeply emotional person. She says in confessional, when they were going through it, like those struggles in their marriage, it seemed like he was just waiting for her to, quote unquote, get over it, instead of fighting for her and saying, look, I'll work through this with you. To me, it sounds like she needed to know that Mauricio would stick by her, fight for their marriage when she was at her lowest, and that really she was safe to be her worst, most sad, depressed self, and that he would stick by her after all these years. And trigger warning for this, but considering her very best friend in the whole world died by suicide, it's gotta, I can't imagine. I've experienced only one person that I had been close with ever die that way. And, we had drifted apart over the years. We'd been close, but then drifted apart. And, I hadn't spoken to him in years when this happened. And I still think about it constantly. So I can't imagine picking up the pieces after that. Now, she says, I'm sorry. Yes. Moving on to Bose. My gosh. Bose, I'm obsessed with you. I also want to tell you, do not have a baby with this man until he says, at least I love you, and moves to your area. Okay. The very least. Gosh, lots of trigger warnings here. Trigger warning. Okay. It's absolutely heartbreaking what happened with Bose's first pregnancy. Preeclampsia, man, I think it's one of those things. I know I had someone in my life who was in neonatal care, and they were an NP, and they said up until not too terribly long ago, anything that would happen with infants, they would say it was diabetes, gestational diabetes. And preeclampsia, it's terrifying. So I can understand where she is deeply stressed, concerned about the idea, but also wanting to have another child. And let me move on to this wealth, honey. That is wealth. Bose's OBGYN fertility specialist comes to her home along with her own hairstylist and her own nail tech, all of that. My gosh. Imagine not ever having to leave the house so that you could be ready to leave the house. You know what I mean? So they are checking Bose's egg count. And can I just be completely real with you, besties? I have personally so much anxiety around this topic. I have a very hard time listening to anyone talk about the biological clock for women because I'll be real. I personally would love to have one more child. Financially, we have to wait. I told y'all there was a major layoff in our family, and right now I'm the big working person here, and so until this reaches a point where we are more financially stable, I have to wait, and it has nothing to do with anything else. And so anxiety around even just hearing Paige and Lindsay talking on Summer House about freezing eggs, y'all, that is expensive. And any money that we've got is going to go toward the child that is already Earthside that we have. So it kind of, my anxiety doesn't get too bad too terribly often, but this is something that it's like almost crippling to me. So I hope you don't mind that I'm kind of skimming over this scene because I'm struggling with it. I'm 36. I'm getting close to that age. And full disclosure, I have endometriosis. You can only be surgically diagnosed, which is bullshit. You ask me. But yeah, I have concern about that. And fun fact about me, I am an in vitro baby. So my own mother had fertility struggles, and I have not experienced that so far. Knock on wood, but it gives me too much anxiety. And I think I believe that I am not alone in this feeling. And I feel like it is so unfair that men only have to worry about whether they're going bald or not, while we have to be concerned about whether or not we could even have a child when we want one. So, okay, I'm done. Y'all don't need, I gave you a lot of information about me that you probably didn't even want to know. Well, we're among besties, right? Please tell me we are. Okay. Everyone is getting ready for the caviar Caspia. I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm so sorry. I can't stop with the Southern Luann. So apparently Caviar Caspia is a restaurant in Paris, New York, and LA. And I guess I missed that in the opening, when I first was watching that it's the restaurant they're doing it at. I thought it was just a theme. See, goes to tell you what my wallet weight is made of. So in confession, Sutton tells us Caviar Caspia is best known for its twice baked potato with a ton of caviar on top. I prefer the Cetra, the most expensive one. Somebody like Porit would get the cheapest one, which is the red roe caviar that you get on top of sushi sometimes. Okay, starting out real hot. Getting real spicy here. In the car on the way to the event, Bose and Sutton are in there, and I'm sorry. Bose and Dorit are in the car. And Dorit tells Bose that she believes Sutton was just looking for an excuse to leave her 4th of July party and that essentially calling her a bitch was her way out. That's a really wild way out, but I wouldn't put it past Sutton. Dorit says in confessional, what Sutton needs to do is stop playing the victim in situations she created and then manipulate people to believe that she's the innocent one. I'm tired of it. Okay. She tells Bose that the inconsistency with Sutton is what's so difficult because Sutton can be very kind and compassionate. And then there's the quote unquote evil twin sister that Sutton has. She believes she is going to be holding Sutton accountable today. Good luck. We're at the party luncheon thing, and Erica says in her confessional how much she likes Jennifer Tilly, which is interesting considering all these blinds that have been going around saying how much everyone on the cast dislikes Jennifer Tilly, which is weird because I don't know. The Jennifer Tilly we see is a bit like a sweeter, to be honest, sillier, kookier Sutton Strack, who's not from the South. But Erica also says she loves Jennifer because she's smart and funny, but it's also about the couture jewels, the couture caftan. Because a couture caftan, y'all, it will get a girl every time, instant besties. But she makes it clear she doesn't love Sutton herself by saying, how she's friends with Sutton, I don't know. And oh, Lord, we got Faye Resnick, the morally corrupt Faye Resnick. Kyle, Sutton, and Kyle's assistant are on the way to the luncheon, and Kyle is telling her assistant about Sutton waiting 30 minutes for Dorit to come down to the lobby for her 4th of July party. And Sutton says she was just sitting there watching the Babysitters Club, which Kyle's like, what? What are you talking about? And Sutton says the kids, they were Dorit's friends. They were 14. Sutton tells Kyle she's not going to be nice today and says in confessional that she doesn't know what Dorit's issue is with her, but theorizes it has to do with Dorit aspiring to have the level of wealth some people in the group have. Dorit and Bose show up, and Dorit is the only one that isn't in a caftan. So in confessional, Garcelle says, does Chanel not make caftans? Is this why Miss Thing's not in one? Everybody else is. Jennifer asks Sutton if she wants a vodka cran to drink, and Sutton tells her she's just going to start with water, which is going to be a point of contention. Who knew water could be such a weapon? Well, in Southern California, it is because there's always a drought and all those things, but still. Dorit says, I think I missed the caftan memo. Sutton's like, how'd you miss that? And in confessional, Sutton goes, did I miss the caftan memo? Is she stupid? Jesus. And Dorit in her own confessional says, I didn't read the invitation properly. I knew that it was caviar Caspia. I didn't know that it was caftans. I'm not a big fan of them, so this Dior dress would have done anyway. All right. Girl, we know you're wearing labels. You don't have to tell us all the time. Okay? We get it. We can see it. You may as well just get the labels tattooed on you. That way you were always in a label. I think that's a good idea. Don't you? As Sutton's getting her water, Jennifer Tilly just goes, it's important to stay hydrated. And Dorit asks Sutton, is that because of our little tete-a-tete? I speak multiple languages. Tete-a-tete. Lou. Sutton goes, is it okay for me to drink water? And Dorit's like, oh, are you in that mood? So Sutton tells her, you started it, Dorit, and here we go. Oh, Jesus, Andy Cohen, Mary Joseph, take the wheel. Sutton just wants Dorit to leave her alone. And in confessional, she says, I said it to her 5 years ago. Let the mouse go. And now I need to tell her that I am not a mouse. Dorit, I am not a mouse. I am not prey. I am an apex predator. Jennifer calls everyone over to the table to sit, and of course there are place cards, and Garcelle notices one that says Anne Marie, and she goes, who is Anna Marie? Oh gosh, not 8. Somehow still coming in to catch a stray after that disaster of a season, but okay. So it's already awkward as everyone is sitting down, and Faye brings up that Jennifer was nominated for an Oscar, and Jennifer and her sister are some of the only sisters to have both been nominated. Then Jennifer also says that they're the only Chinese Americans to be nominated. What's interesting is I remember seeing that Kathy Hilton jumped into the fray on the having Chinese heritage. But when you watch it on Peacock, it's somehow not there. I don't know. But in the original one that I had seen, you could see Miss Kathy Hilton gnawing at those gums a bit because she could not wait to tell everyone her 23andMe results. And laughing a bit as Erica says, okay, well, I've got Native American. And Jennifer says they always wanted to have Native American in their heritage because of Cher. And Erica goes, yeah, but she's Armenian from the Valley. Sherilyn Arkizian from Van Nuys, that's Cher. Which is interesting because we know Jennifer is a huge Cher fan. Sutton's starting to be a bit kooky when she orders her glass of wine, saying she doesn't know who she's going to be today. Uh-oh, everybody duck. And she looks at Bose saying, how many people do you have in you today? And Bose is just looking at her like, what the fuck is this weird white Southern lady saying to me? She says in confessional, I don't have any voices talking to me in my head. How many do you have, Sutton? But Sutton clarifies to Bose that this is about Dorit asking her which person she was going to be today. And we get a rewind to 20 minutes earlier with Dorit saying she never knows which Sutton she's getting and that now she knows which one. After a long, tense stare-off between Dorit and Sutton, Erica tells them they can't fight because the food's coming. Fully agree. And Dorit agrees and tells Sutton to just back off a little bit. And let me tell you part of why I think it's a thing that Erica was like, no, you can't fight the food's coming. Because that means absolutely there's going to be footage used. And if they're all chewing and munching in the background, they're not going to love that being on camera. That used to be a thing from what I understand on Orange County. And it might still be, you rarely see them actually chewing food. And it used to be they couldn't walk in front of the other as they were like walking in. That it was like a rule the cast members had amongst themselves. Kind of fascinating. Anyway, I forget where it might have been an True Hollywood Story thing about Housewives a very long time ago. Tells you how long ago it was because it was when E was still doing the True Hollywood Story. Don't show your age, Caitlin. So, of course, at this point, Sutton, after Dorit tells her she needs to back off a little bit, says, "You back off of me." And Sutton tells Dorit she needs to say something to her, with Dorit deciding to pull a play from Brittany Bateman's book and does a ding, 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 ding. Sutton needs to say something. Whew, we're going for it, y'all. Sutton tells Dorit about how she came to her house in a peaceful state for the 4th of July party and brings up how she waited on Dorit and that she only came down when Kyle arrived. Then Sutton says, "And then you took my handbag." And Dorit goes, "Oh, how vicious of me. Heaven forbid a little humor." Ah, it's so stupid. I'm sorry. Sutton goes on that she brought a nice bottle of champagne, cut flowers for Dorit from her garden, and that she had to wait in Dorit's lobby. Just hear Garcelle go, "Not a lobby." Sutton says, "Well, it looked like a lobby because I was the only one there." Bringing up how Dorit says her thing about Sutton with, the vodka and the grapefruit juice. But then she says to Dorit, "You put vodka in your Coca-Cola," which I thought was interesting. I think it's even more interesting that Sutton at least knows not to call Coca-Cola Coke to Dorit after, Lisa Rinna. Then she says it was such a jab that Dorit made with that quote unquote joke about whether it should be a question if Sutton even had alcohol in her drink or not, because that obviously. Dorit asks her why it was such a jab, and Sutton reminds her of the insinuations that Dorit had made, more than insinuations, but okay, the last year, really trying to make it seem as though Sutton had a drinking problem. And the thing is, this was from both Dorit and Kyle last year, so let's not put it all on Dorit. And thank you. Dorit points out she wasn't the only one. But Sutton says Kyle apologized to her, and Dorit's like, "Yeah, I did too." But the flashback from the reunion was not an apology on Dorit's part. So if that's the only one that she gave her, then no. I mean, it was not an apology because she literally only said she didn't know if Sutton had a drinking problem. And Sutton goes, "That," sorry, it's just sometimes the way. This next moment. Okay, excuse me. Had to gather myself. Sutton says, "You picked at me, and I'm sorry, but you need to pick on somebody else whose wallet fits." What? What? What does that even totally mean, Sutton? Garcelle just hears it. She just goes, "Oh, damn. Okay, okay, okay. A little too far, Sutton. Not a little. That was a lot too far." And Erica says to Sutton, "You think you're bigger than her?" And Sutton goes, "I think my wallet is." Ooh. Ugh. Sutton's been doubling down on that one too. So I don't even know. Um, Sutton, if you had earned that money on your own, and I'm not saying she wasn't entitled to the money that she got from in her divorce from Christian, because she was there supporting him as he was building his wealth. I don't know a lot about Christian. I have a feeling there certainly had to have been generational wealth in there. So I'll say she was there supporting him as he was growing his wealth. Okay. Because it's very rare that we see anyone that wealthy not come from some form of money, at least starting on second base as opposed to in the dugout of life. How's that for you? Mm. So, anywho, now we're just gonna move on. I'm just still like, wow. Dorit says in confessional,
And now we're seeing Sutton go where she's most comfortable, as low as she can possibly go, just because she thinks her ex husband dropped a big effing pocketbook in her lap. It gives her license to be such an effing my country 'tis of thee. She says the only thing your money has bought you is a horse instead of a date.
okay, ouch. My God. Erica asks what the money has to do with anything at all in their issues between Dorit and Sutton. And Sutton goes, it doesn't. I'm just trying. I want her to back off of me. Sutton is like a cornered cat right now. She is hissing and clawing at the air. But then she has also been wound up like a doll. Ironic that that is Dorit's tagline.
I may look like a doll, but don't wind me up.
Sutton's very much a wind up doll because she starts going, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And Dorit's like, oh, Jesus Christ. She's like,
Let me know when you're done, Sutton. I'm tired of it.
in confessional, Sutton says she doesn't regret saying the wallet comment and that she's proud of it. Ooh, okay. And then Sutton goes,
Let me make something very clear, Missy.
Erica, the way she went, oh, Erica's heard that a time or 20 from her own Georgia mother. Sutton says Dorit was rude to her and made it clear she didn't want her at her home. So that's why she was just going to leave. Dorit calls her out on that, though. And she says,
So it's okay for you, but it wasn't okay for Kyle.
And Sutton goes, I wasn't on the side of the road in a bathrobe. Oh, Sutton, love you so much. But girl, please. Where she also was not on the side of the Vegas Strip upset about pants. Sutton says she left because
My hostess did not want me there.
Dorit asks Sutton if she called her a bitch. And Sutton, my God, says yes. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. No, because Dorit didn't call her a bitch. Y'all, I'm getting it together. Okay. And Sutton goes, no, I should have called you an effing bitch. Bose just goes, no, girl, please. What is your problem? This is too much. Dorit looks at Erica and is like,
So I'm the one that's being mean to her.
and she says then in confessional,
I'm so over Sutton's bullshit. Honestly, I don't want to be around someone who's as tacky, low, classless as she is.
Dorit asks if anyone has a mirror because she's about to try and make the point that Sutton needs to look in one, but Sutton interjects and says she needs a touch up. In confessional, Jennifer Tilly goes,
Ooh, I do not want these girls to get in a caviar food fight. That would be messy and expensive.
that laugh of hers, she cracks me up. Garcelle brings up, what about you just saying, I'm sorry, that was a terrible joke. I take it back. Let's be done. And Dorit points out, like, really? You think it'll be done if I just do that? All right, fine. Okay, here's the bone. Let's try it. Dorit looks at Sutton and she says,
Sutton, I'm so sorry. That was a terrible joke.
and look, she did try. It sounded kind of sincere to me, even though we know it wasn't. And I don't blame her for feeling insincere and not genuine in this apology, but okay. Sutton's going to take it up further a notch because Sutton goes, oh, so sincere. My God, the lasers coming out of Sutton Strack's eyes. I never want to be on the receiving end of those laser beams. I don't even want to know how many service industry people have been on the end of that gaze of Sutton's. Kyle is just like, oh, okay, well, that was good. And Dorit tells Sutton to just tell her what to do because I don't know what Sutton actually wants from Dorit at this point. You've insulted her tax bracket. You're not accepting an apology because, yeah, it wasn't sincere enough for you. Whatever. Dorit tells Sutton that if she had just told her not to do that because it hurts her feelings, it would have been fine. And, you know, that's not true because Sutton did start to say that. But then Sutton, a little too quickly, went with the bitch remark. Sutton claims she did. And again, she didn't give Dorit any time to course correct after saying, don't do that. And Dorit reminds her of that. And Sutton's just like, yep, it was warranted. Kyle asks them, what is it that they need from each other? Because God, Sutton is not budging for anything. And this is where it makes me wonder, was there something that happened off camera that we didn't know about? It truly does make me nuts when there seems to be context missing, because this seems to be like so petty and so much to be doing over a bullshit comment from Dorit. Sutton says, now, she has nothing to give me. I can promise you that. So clearly it's another loaded money jab again. Dorit tells Kyle she can't just keep sitting there and taking this, which I also don't blame her as well. And then she turns on Kyle at the same time, saying, and you know what? You of all people sitting here watching this. Well, what the hell do you want Kyle to do? It's like, Dorit, you and Sutton are the adults here. Y'all two need to just get your shit together and figure it out, for crying out loud. Kyle tells Dorit that she is trying to help, but Dorit tells her that she's dealing with someone who clearly doesn't want to move forward and have a productive conversation. And again, that laser beam glare from Sutton, my God. Kyle's just like, okay, is there anything that can be done? And that's when Sutton's like, we need space. So Kyle swaps seats with Dorit and sits next to Erica across from Sutton. Okay, fine. We'll separate you two. You go in your separate corners and we'll go from there. Okay, girlies? The morally corrupt, it doesn't matter how much Chanel you borrow. You will never be a lady. Faye Resnick has to jump into the fold here, bringing up that Dorit doesn't like people bringing up that she's late all the time. And then Faye looks at Sutton and says, I drink as much as you. I mean, I think that we all have our little buttons. And also, like, how much had Faye been drinking at this point? Because what is she even saying here? I mean, essentially, she's attempting to say that no one wants to be put in a box or labeled. Jesus, Andy Cohen, Mary Joseph, and everyone, these potatoes run between $250 to $1,000 each. Get out of here. Go home. Send all that money to charity. My God. Dorit gets up from the table, and Jennifer says Dorit seems to basically just be ridden hard and put away wet emotionally, and just goes, poor Dorit. But Sutton feels zero empathy, sympathy, anything for poor Dorit right now, and says in confessional she's done. She doesn't care at all about Dorit anymore. So Kyle goes after Dorit and admits that, yes, Sutton is on one. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Dorit says that if she went as low as Sutton does, she would eviscerate her. And I don't know, would she? I think they'd be evenly matched, which is why they're really going rounds. But verbally and sensically, yeah, Dorit would verbally kick Sutton's ass. But Sutton isn't really afraid to go full throttle, even if she's nonsensical at some of the times she does, clearly. Kyle thinks Dorit and Sutton just need a break and to talk alone, but Dorit has no patience left, and Kyle admits that Sutton isn't even really letting Dorit talk today. In confessional, Kyle brings up the way she's understanding Sutton's trigger on alcohol differently now after hearing more about her dad and, the way he passed when they were in Augusta. She says she can understand now more why Sutton's so triggered by the alcohol issue comments. And Dorit tells Kyle that when Sutton
balances her meds, she can come see me.
Do not tell me we're going down the gabapentin hole again. Or esophageal strictures, whatever. Kyle tells her that Sutton gets very offended by the talk of pills and alcohol, and Dorit says Sutton gets offended by everything. And that's not entirely untrue, because also as adults, we do need to just go to therapy, work through our triggers so that we don't act like toddlers every time one comes up. And Sutton, baby, you do need therapy to work through the fact that not only is your mother a therapist, but everything you went through with your father, things like that. That's just a piece of advice. Every adult should do at least like a year of therapy just to learn coping mechanisms that are very difficult to learn from people who are not professionals. And obviously, even though Sutton had a professional in her life, it didn't happen. In confessional, Dorit says she's so over Sutton because she's gross and that she just wants to go home and
leave this miserable bitch to enjoy her big wallet.
and then it's dun dun dun. Headlines. Mauricio kissing young actress in the Greece airport. And then I'm cracking up at this random headline from Daily Mail. Mauricio Umansky's mystery woman is identified as a Russian-born actress who is 20 years younger than Kyle Richards' ex and is in a movie with Alec Baldwin. Not Alec Baldwin. But of course, we're going to be getting all the cast members calling each other about it, pretending that they only just saw it. And yeah. When Dorit and Bose are FaceTiming, Dorit has a giant cutout of her face behind her, by the way. I don't know if anyone else noticed that. Erica calls Kyle, who seems very sad, and Kyle says she didn't know this was coming and has no idea who this person that Mauricio is kissing is. And then she's defending Mauricio, saying he didn't know he was getting a photo taken and that it's happened to her in Europe and that you don't expect it. I mean, okay. She's very defensive of Erica possibly insinuating that Mauricio knew and intended for that photo to happen. Kyle, girl. Okay. Sutton says in confessional that she's been to the airport that the picture of Mauricio and this actress were taken and that Jennifer Aniston was there when she was there at the same time and there was no paparazzi. She then questions to Garcelle if Mauricio and Kyle are using pictures from the paparazzi and selling their stories to basically do a war of the roses with each other. And how, look, there are pictures of Kyle and Morgan everywhere at the airport getting gas, walking around. And Sutton confirms that she 100% believes Mauricio planted this. I wonder. I mean, you never know where you're going to meet a Bravo fan. Let's just say that. Okay, let's go to episode 14, my friends. Kyle and Kathy. Kathy, they're in the car, and Kathy asks Kyle how she's doing, with Kyle saying, she's a little shocked and she's still processing, that her assistant Jen was with her and felt bad telling Kyle, but she obviously had to tell Kyle that, look at what just came up. Look what I just saw. Oh, shit. And Kyle is telling Kathy how visceral her assistant's reaction was to the photo when she saw it. And God bless Kathy Hilton. Kathy just goes, when she saw what? Kyle's like, the photo of Mauricio. Isn't that what you're asking about? And Kathy's like, kind of, yeah. But I wanted you to bring it up. And admits that she knew eventually they all would end up seeing something like this. In confessional, Kyle says she saw it on TMZ like everyone else and that she finds it very strange to see. Obviously, I would lose my shit. You guys, I am too psychotic. You guys, I know. I would lose my shit. I would. She thought she'd somehow end up seeing something with Mauricio by running into him out at a restaurant or something, not in the tabloids. Girl, really? Come on, of course. She claims that she doesn't want Mo to feel guilty because he can technically do what he wants, but at the same time, she wonders why he's being irresponsible enough to get caught that easily, and admits that she has a lot of mixed feelings because she's processing it all. Let's remember, friends, this is the same Kyle Richards who had a guest at their infamous white party that was hanging all over Mauricio, and she was ready to kick her ass. Our little Kyle Richards was ready to throw down in her own backyard. So I think Kyle and I are cut from a similar cloth here. Okay. In confessional, Kyle wonders if Mauricio's not going to be allowed to be as nice to her and have a good friendship relationship with her if a girlfriend is like in his life now. And she tells Kathy she wanted to text him and ask who this person was that he was kissing, but stopped herself because it's not her business. And Kathy does say, yeah, it really is not your business, Kyle. Okay, I do love Erica's newly redesigned home, newly redecorated home, because there wasn't like renovation design type of thing. The only thing is I might have chosen a smaller print for the kitchen wallpaper, but it's all about how this Redecoration is a new birth, or rebirth for Erica. Got it. And Erica's mother, Renee, arrives. And this is when Erica's introducing Renee to Martin and tells her that he designed her home. Ms. Renee gets the tour. And again, thinking the wallpaper print in Erica's bedroom is too big. It makes the room look smaller. But I do like it. Just saying. Just maybe like scale it down a little smaller. Renee starts in with saying she's a stickler and doesn't want to see wallpaper seams or anything like that. And Erica just looks at Martin and goes, "Oh my goodness, my mother has landed." Is home decorating Erica's entire storyline this season? I mean, y'all, she has had enough going on over the last few years to really, take a bit of a break this season, but okay, whatever, you know. Kyle and Kathy go to get mammograms, and Big Kath, remember their mom was Big Kathy and Kathy Hilton was Little Kathy, hadn't had a mammogram in 5 years when they discovered she had stage 4 breast cancer. Honestly, good on them for bringing more awareness to that. It's something we women, we have so many moving parts, as some people like to say, and we are busy. Whether you have kids or not, you're busy, okay? Doesn't matter what you're busy with, you're busy, and doing things that are not fun hardly ever fit into our schedule. So I think it's great that they're doing this. Kathy brings up the photo of Mauricio and that woman, saying not everyone is used to having to see that. And look, Kyle, I get that you can't help but be concerned with his emotional well-being, but girl, come on, it's giving Delulu. Because she says to imagine how Mo must be feeling knowing that she and all their daughters have seen this photo. Excuse me? I'm so sorry, but I would be like, I need you to know how this feels so you can go find your penis in a trash can rolling down the 405. Let's see how it feels for you after that. You think I'm joking? She says she knows that Mauricio must be freaking out, and Kathy, I'm dying. She goes, and he's a cancer, right? So he's very sensitive and scared. Like, you're definitely the stronger one. And Kathy, my love, you're in the oncology area. Now's not the time to bring up the cancer astrological sign. It's time and place, my love. But Kyle is a Capricorn, I believe, and Mauricio is a Cancer, which is very interesting because my son, I've told y'all, is a Cancer. And the emotions. The emotions. And I don't want to hear any of y'all talk shit on Cancer men because I have a Cancer man. All right. Leave me alone. Leave him alone. He's my baby. And I will make sure he is the most perfect, precious angel when he grows up. Because we're all in control of how our children turn out completely, right? Kathy says 100% that, yes, Kyle is the stronger one and Mauricio's not. And then she jokes that she sounds like Mauricio because he says 100% like 9/10 of the day for 100 different things. Something I never noticed, ironically. Anyway, we got a flashback of a lot of different times he said that on camera. Kyle says that she thought Mauricio would text and at least say something after this picture started circulating, but Kathy tells her Mauricio is a single grown man, and she makes this great point, which is when people are quiet, that tells you a lot. Now, I want y'all to pay very close attention because Kyle Richards is now going to put her acting chops to the test and try to convince us that she only just thought, just now, it only just occurred to her that she should do this. She says she's not going to sit here and have wife in her Instagram bio if he's running around with people like this. So obviously she removes it and admits in confessional that in the past it was hard for her to remove her married name and wife from her bio. But after this picture has gone around and all that, she's changed her view on it and tells Kathy she feels stupid for keeping it on there after this. When Mauricio removed father and husband from his bio in lieu of just having CEO of the agency there. Kathy doesn't think this girl that he took the picture with knows any better, but Kyle actually admits after saying she doesn't think Mauricio knew the photo was being taken that clearly somebody knew. So clearly we are going to be blaming the woman when it was your husband, ex-husband, estranged husband, whatever we're going to call him. gladly doing that in public where it doesn't matter if you expect it or not. Mauricio is a public figure. He should have known. Okay. He knew it was a risk and he decided he was going to do what he wanted. And for this girl, yeah, she outweighed the consequences, didn't she? Kathy goes, not to be rude, but it's not like this is Brad Pitt. And I love how people always go back to Brad Pitt or George Clooney of a certain age. Like, I don't know. It's like if someone younger, maybe say Timothy Chalamet or someone I haven't heard of because I'm of a certain age. God damn it. In confessional, Kathy says they've all heard the rumors about Mauricio over the years, but they've never seen a photo like this before. And that he's not in a position financially to pay anybody off. Okay. All right. I'm so curious to know what tax bracket someone needs to be in to be paid off by Kathy's standards. I'm just curious. Like, what am I aspiring? What tax bracket am I manifesting here? Because I would just love to know. I could just pay someone off. I'm not doing anything that I need to, but it's like the knowing, you know what I mean? You know? Kathy wants to find out what this girl does because she thinks it'll give them their answer. Essentially, she wants to know if this girl that is in the photo is aspiring to be in the entertainment industry. But Kyle, she doesn't think that matters. She says that she needs to get her shit together and focus on moving on. And Kathy goes, she reminds me of the lady with the dancing, meaning Mauricio's Dancing with the Stars partner. And you gotta admit, for Kyle, I think this would hurt even further knowing he's going after women who are physically the complete opposite of Kyle. Tall and blonde. Kyle's a petite brunette. So, because you've seen, Kyle is teensy tiny. Like, when I met her at BravoCon, the picture I have with her, she was in heels and I had just a small, like, I had a pair of boots on that were like kind of Western boots and they had like the tiniest little block heel. And I was significantly taller than her in her high heels. So she's a petite little thing. Kyle shuts all of this down though, and she doesn't want to keep talking about it all. Kathy says Mauricio clearly did not orchestrate this photo being taken, but there are ways of finding out who did. They really are just going to blame the woman in this. Don't love that. Did it ever occur to you two ladies that maybe you don't even know Mauricio anymore? It happens whenever there's a divorce, a separation. You realize everything you thought you knew about that person may not be true. Yeah, it's hard. The radiologist comes in with the good news that the mammograms look good. Kathy wants some candy. They might just get her some. It's Kathy Hilton. Get her some goddamn candy. Damn it. Garcelle goes into Sutton's store, and it turns out Sutton's mother, Reba, was planning to come to her fashion show. And I completely forgot about this last year. There was that big tech outage that literally grounded all the flights. It was a nightmare, and it really threw that plan out the window. But Garcelle's son, Jade, will be walking in Sutton's show, and Sutton questions whether to invite Dorit to the fashion show or not, which Garcelle points out in confessional that Dorit and Sutton just jab at each other all the time, and it always turns into something else, and it's just never gonna end. These ladies have to be exhausted of the Dorit Sutton drain that is constantly circling and circling and circling. Those two, they are talkers. And when two talkers are mad at each other and go at it, Jesus Christ. They move on to the Mauricio of it all, and we see the video of him with that woman wearing a sheer dress and I assume like a bikini under it. I mean, hey, they were in Greece. I don't know. Is that as the Greeks do at the airport? I don't think so, but whatever. Wear what you want. Sutton says,
Mauricio, get your dancers out.
Sutton, you are always the most. Sutton is pointing out that this woman is roughly their daughter's age. And then she says,
he is not her ex-husband. He is her husband. That she is holding on to for a pipe dream. And Cinderella, you didn't lose one shoe. You done lost two shoes.
And I don't know. Maybe it's just that I don't understand the language of incredibly, like, overly wealthy people. But what the F is Sutton talking about here? But I feel like this also proves my point when I was saying that Sutton can go there, but it doesn't always make sense. Okay. Sutton says in confessional she thinks Kyle has been holding out for the moment Mauricio comes back and that he realizes what he's been doing. And she essentially tells Garcelle the same things that Kyle said herself, which is that Kyle needs to wake up and get with reality. Move on, girl. You're gorgeous. You look fantastic. You've always looked fantastic before the working out. So, just saying. Okay, Erica, also, I love you so much, but we get it. Redecorating was a rebirth for you. Her mom tells her that there were some days she was scared to death for Erica when they're sitting in Erica's newly painted and newly rugged cabana having some champagne. Gosh, those flashbacks of Erica really do show just emotionally, mentally, physically how far she's come from the trenches she was in regarding Tom. She brings up that she's gotten to a point where she's not thinking about Tom every single day, but with the trial that at that time was coming up in a few weeks, she says she doesn't want to look at the trial when it's happening because basically it's just now about how she wants to make sure she enjoys the rest of the time she has left on this earth. Garcelle meets Dorit for dinner, and it's a little awkward at first. Also, poor Garcelle, she wasn't feeling all that well. So Dorit says in confessional,
Well, hell hath frozen over. I would have never imagined that Garcelle and I would have been sitting down for dinner, the two of us. But here we are.
she's so dramatic. Look who's talking. Okay. Pot kettle. Okay, Caitlin. We gotta love that flashback of Garcelle telling Dorit she only likes her sometimes at the reunion last year. Jesus. Garcelle says in her confessional that when Dorit came up to her at Bose's wellness day and apologized and took accountability, she felt like that was a really good place to start over and start working toward an actual friendship with Dorit. Dorit tells Garcelle her current status of happy is when she and PK aren't essentially trying to rip each other's throat out. Garcelle points out in her confessional that it seems like the group easily forgets that Dorit has small children while going through this separation. Y'all, it is a different beast getting divorced with little kids. You've got your holidays, birthdays, anything that as they're growing, you miss things. You miss special, like a special, what's the word? Oh, special, not achievements, but milestones. Thank you. Jeez. Thank you, Caitlin. You're welcome, Caitlin. How many versions of me are there today? God, I'm sounding like Sutton Strack. Somebody help me. Andy Cohen. Someone said Andy Cohen. I'm losing it. Okay. Anyway, it's a lot. And Garcelle does point out in her confessional there seems to be a lack of compassion for Dorit during this. She's right. I think they are forgetting that, well, but also Sutton did go through this with kids, but I mean, Dorit's kids are younger than Sutton's were. So, yeah. Garcelle brings up the Mauricio pictures. Again, Garcelle's just going to keep doing this mess. And how Kyle removed wife from her Instagram bio after the pictures and videos went around. Dorit says in confessional that
If Kyle was thinking about reconciling with Mo, is it possible now?
after saying it doesn't matter who or what is happening, that no one wants to see that shit. No kidding. You don't. Garcelle brings up Kyle going to Morgan's concert and questions whether Kyle is going to get back or whether she was doing that to try and get back at Mauricio. Being photographed backstage at Morgan's concert. Now, y'all, I do recall that there was talk of Kyle producing a documentary on Morgan Wade's life or something. I mean, look at me trying to give an excuse. I don't know. Whatever. They both agree that it's time for everyone to move on regarding Kyle and Mauricio. Garcelle says in confessional that it's hard to believe that Mauricio wouldn't think it was okay to move on himself when Kyle was being as public as she was with Morgan. Dorit wants to see if she can get some dirt on Sutton by asking Garcelle if Kyle and Sutton talk much. It was such a random thing for Dorit to ask, in my opinion. Like, look, I do not fault Dorit for getting messy in any capacity when it comes to Sutton because, my God, Sutton's been like on her neck. And I have to say, I don't feel like Dorit's been all that awful to her this season. So let me just say that this season. But this question backfires on Dorit because it prompts Garcelle to ask her, what is your beef with Sutton at this point? Like, what is your issue? Why are you going so hard? But Garcelle, why are you not asking Sutton why she is going so hard at Dorit over things from last year? You ladies are kind of supposed to move on a little bit from the things that happened last year. And it did start that way. But Sutton's been taking a lot of like true jabs herself at Dorit. This didn't start with just the drinking comment from Dorit. Let's remember this, okay? You're mad at your life. You're not mad at me. I mean, how can we forget that? Dorit is just appalled at the idea that she's the one that has beef with Sutton because she goes, my beef with her? Dorit tells Garcelle it feels like she has rose tinted glasses when it comes to Sutton's behavior and her essentially endorsing, enabling all the things with Sutton's behavior. And she thinks that Garcelle views Dorit, like views her, as a cruel and raging bitch. And oh my, Garcelle just tells Dorit, you were. Listen, say what you want about Garcelle. I love that that woman has no issue just saying it. I love it. I love it. Dorit concludes in confessional that as long as Garcelle is quote unquote doing Sutton's bidding, they can have nice lunches, but they'll never be close. And Garcelle asks Dorit, okay, so where do you two go from here? Dorit says she's going to come to Sutton's fashion show and behave herself. And Garcelle does say she feels better after this dinner, but she's going to be keeping one side eye open with Dorit. She jokes with Dorit asking if Sutton gave her an Hermes Kelly bag if she'd be in good with Sutton. And Dorit's like,
Oh, absolutely. She'd be my best friend.
hey, Dorit can be bought. Can't argue with a girl who can be bought sometimes. Nothing wrong with that. It's taking opportunities when they come. Sutton's fashion show rehearsal is happening now, and Kent, the model manager, you fabulous thing, you. Vogue, Women's Wear Daily, a lot of press are all coming to this fashion show. That's quite a bit. Women's Wear Daily coming to Sutton's fashion show? That's huge. And I don't know what it is, but I'm having flashbacks of America's Next Top Model anxiety, seeing the models doing a walk on a runway anywhere near a pool, because I'm just expecting there to be some sort of giant ball that comes, rolling at them and they get pushed into the pool or something.
Jennifer Tilly,
Is walking in the show, and she says in confessional,
I don't think Sutton realizes I'm a celebrity. I've walked in fashion shows, but they slot you in at the last minute. They do all the rehearsals and lighting and everything without you. You show up like 15 minutes before curtain and go, okay, where do I stand?
I know it's a terrible impression. I love it. Okay. Anyway, does Sutton really? Do you think she actually knows that Jennifer is a celebrity? I'm just curious. Part of me feels like she has no idea. And my God, Sutton's mother spent 13 hours at the airport trying to get another flight for Sutton's fashion show. And Sutton says this is something Reba would normally not do, so she very much appreciates it. Yeah, Sutton, don't say your mama didn't try, at least for this one. And now it's time for the fashion show. Kyle does not want to do the step and repeat question portion, the interview portion, because she does not want to talk about Mauricio, how she's feeling, how she's dealing, what is happening at all. Dorit says in her confessional,
I'm curious if I'll get an apology with this invite to the fashion show, or if I'm just here to fill a seat.
You're here to fill a seat, babe. You are. Oh, Sheena Shea is there. Of course. By the way, did y'all see Sheena Shea was on The Masked Singer? Yeah. You didn't. I mean, it was so blatantly obvious it was her singing. It was anyone who has ever watched at least, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe 5 episodes of Vanderpump Rules absolutely knew it was her immediately. Now, Dorit is so thrown by Kyle holding a non-alcoholic beer in a mug with the gorgeous white outfit she's wearing. It just doesn't go together for her. Because let's be real, Dorit is very, very much all about appearances. Dorit asks Kyle how she's doing, and Kyle says she's doing better today and that she knows TMZ reported I went to a concert to make Mo jealous. But like, really? I mean, that's how they think I'm going to make him jealous? Okay, but you failed to mention the part that it wasn't just a concert, it was Morgan Waite's concert. And at this point, y'all, I don't believe we are ever going to get a real, honest answer about this. And I'm not saying she owes it to us because, obviously outing someone is deplorable. At the same time, it's just started to feel like teasing, queer baiting after that music video and whatnot, I give up. She says that if she wanted to make Mo jealous, it'd be a whole lot more than the photos of her at a concert. Well, at that concert, number one. Number two, like what? With who? What would you do? Because that music video was enough for me. She says Mauricio doesn't even get jealous anyway. And then she says Mauricio texted her an apology at least, but she feels like it looked strange the way the girl was posed with her leg while kissing him. So Dorit's like, well, do you think it was staged? And Kyle tells her she knows Mauricio didn't know the photo was being taken, but that she's not so sure about the other person. And in confessional, she says, look, I don't know what the situation is with those photos, but it seemed a little suspect. I mean, okay, Mo is not exactly Brad Pitt. What Kathy said. And she questions why anyone would be chasing him with a camera in Mykonos. Kathy shows up and she says she thinks she may have broken her knee, like fell down some stairs because of her sandals. My God, Kathy, are you okay? Are you okay? But then she looks at Kyle and goes, where are the hors d'oeuvres? And Kyle's like, the horse duvers? If it weren't Kathy, I'd automatically assume it was full on a joke. But I don't know. I do assume it's a joke. Kind of. Dorit thought she asked where the strippers were. Look at you, Dorit. You are ready. Single, ready to mingle, honey. I support it. Everyone takes their seats and Kathy leans over to Kyle and Eric and she goes, I haven't mentioned that Dorit could do the introduction because she's so into fashion and do the narrating. But I don't know if it's a good idea after all. And Kyle's like, if you want to say she should let Dorit introduce everybody, she would kill you. It's her fashion show. Meanwhile, Sutton, bless your heart, she is panicking backstage. Truly, wholeheartedly panicking. She's very, very nervous. And she tells, I assume she is one of her assistants. I couldn't tell for certain. That as she's holding her alcohol drink, this isn't helping, actually. And then she continues to take a large sip. I would say that's how I am, though, only in the sense that the more nervous I am, if I try to take a single sip of alcohol for anything important, I start panicking even more, thinking that, the one sip is suddenly going to make me absolutely shit-faced and stupid. It's like it's always counterintuitive if I try to use that liquid courage method myself. So I just have to let myself sit in agonizing panic attack feeling and feel all the things. But I usually make it out on the other side, okay? Kind of. Kind of. Anyhow, Kathy gets up and starts walking up the runway to go backstage. Well, she's limping up. God bless the knee, remember. And Garcelle and everyone, they're just freaking out, telling Kyle to go grab her sister. And Kyle's like, don't look at me. She's only my sister. And they're like, you're responsible for her. Oh. No, God. It's just, it's not secondhand embarrassment I'm feeling. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just like, oh, shit. Kathy, no, Kathy, stop it, Kathy. Just, it's like I said, it's not embarrassment. I don't know what it is. She goes backstage and she goes, Sutton, did you need Dorit? She would help you introduce and she could do all the narrating. Kathy said on the after show this was a prank, but oh my God. If she only knew how bad the timing was with Sutton already spiraling into the oblivion backstage. Truly. But Sutton, listen, she does not have a sense of humor. Remember the last time that you tried to pull a prank on her when y'all were all in Aspen and it was something about chugging a drink? Come on. She does not have that sense of humor at all. So Sutton just goes, no, we're not narrating, and tells Kathy it's a real fashion show, that you don't narrate that. In confessional, Sutton says, fashion shows don't get MC'd. This is not 1955 when people were like, oh, and here's a red dress and corduroy. No. And then the person you want to do it is Dorit? Obviously, you're deranged. Miss Ma'am, you did not just call Kathy Hilton deranged. A little Looney Tunes, yes, but she is not deranged. She just lives in a different reality than some of us a bit. Remember? It's don't you disrespect Miss Kathy Hilton. And dear God, it's time for the show to start. And the lights are lowering. And just in time, as the lights lower, it's time for Kathy to saunter limp out to the front of the stage. Then she just fixes one of the curtains, just checking it out, just touching it. Oh my God. It's so funny. Kyle is dying, saying she's leaving, and her jaw is just dropped wide open. And they're cracking up and all just dying because Kathy is limping down the runway. Oh my God. It's almost like a horror movie. Just as the first model steps out, she goes, I think she was telling Erica's mom, she said that was very sweet of you. Oh my God, I'm dying. I don't know what it is. It's like I said, it's not singing an embarrassment. It's like, stop it. I just take me now, please. Let me expire. Because Kathy does not give a damn, and she does not seem the least bit embarrassed, even when she ends up realizing it. She is now going down the line of the front row, shaking hands with people. You guys. Oh, I wonder, Kathy, she must be so entertaining to live with, to have in your life. Oh my God, it's wild. Anyway, she did say she was on the after show. She was trying to just say hello to Erica's mom, but you guys, I'm absolutely sent into outer space. Just go find me on Jupiter because I would have left our entire planet or simply expired. Truly. The model is now going down the runway. You guys, when I say I was doing when I really get surprised by how funny I find something, there's a cackle that escapes me that would not be pleasant to the ears, especially if you're listening on audio. But it's a bit of a okay, that's most I'll do. Probably can't even hear that sound on the audio, but oh my God. That's what I was doing. They are all yelling at Kathy, get out of the way. But Mrs. Hilton heard none of that. None. Yeah, I am expired, deceased. I'm on another planet at this point, and everyone is just cracking up and losing their shit. Erica says in confessional,
Here's Kathy pulling focus. Are we shocked? No.
Kathy is about to turn into fashion roadkill. The model just shoulders past her because that model's like, bitch, I have seen America's Next Top Model. I am here as a real model. I didn't have to go on some reality show. Okay, so I'm like a real model, even though the models on that show, most of them are legit real models. And it's probably harder to be a model on that show than even in regular real life. But anyway, she's like, I am not going in that pool, bitch. So she shoulders past Kathy. Oh my God. Now, in confessional, Erica goes,
I don't think Sutton's going to be winning any CFDA awards, but I applaud her.
oh gosh. Listen, Erica, baby, we know you love fashion, and saying your friend did a great job without a jab. Look, it's not going to have us second guessing your fashion sense. We can do that without you saying a word. Just kidding. I'm kidding. I do love Erica Jane so much. So much. Dorit is asked in confessional if she's impressed with Sutton's collection, and Dorit doesn't speak her answer. She literally gives multiple, I'm going to say about 6 different literal emoji faces. First, it's a surprise, and then it's the eye roll, and then it's the face. Then it's the half smirk, and then downward side eye smirk, and then it's the eyebrow cocked look. Garcelle says in confessional she's so proud of Jade and how she remembers her first fashion show, and it was Calvin Klein, and she was just absolutely terrified. Then we get to see Jennifer Tilly walking down in a sweater dress with her bra strap showing. She had lots of fun with it. It's cute. And it ends with Sutton giving a speech. Now, in Sutton's speech, I personally felt as though she made it sound as though her mother did not try everything she could to come to this show. That woman is in her 80s, was at the airport for 13 hours. Like, let's maybe change the way we said that, but okay. The show went well, all said and done. Next time, it's going to finally be a topic about how they can all talk about Mauricio, but they can't mention a word about Morgan Wade when it comes to Kyle. And also, it's time for the cast trip. It's going to be, I think we're going to start seeing a little bit more ramping up. This episode was mostly just a lot of fun, if you ask me. Besties, keep an eye out. I am also recording the Summer House episode 4 recap today, so check that out as well. If you are listening on audio, please go on ahead and leave a 5-star review with a reason why you enjoy watching or listening, excuse me, because it really does mean the world to me. And if you could also go follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Besties by Caitlin. That's spelled Caitlin. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you, Bestie, for joining. Subscribe, like, do all the things on the YouTube at Besties by Caitlin. It's the same name everywhere, finally. And yeah, check out the Pop Culture Besties merch shop on Etsy. Aside from that, my friends, I will see you soon in Summer House. Thank you again for joining. Bye.